Hello and welcome. Hello, Heartrepreneurs. Good to have you. I have a special guest that I'll be introducing in just one moment, and I'm really thrilled to have you. I really want you to tune in and pay attention because when I found out about this guest and what she could deliver, I'm like, oh, we have to come and have an interview today. Pam is going to share with you her offer creation strategy that you'll be able to use and put into effect. And it doesn't really matter if you're brand new, if you've been in business for a while, if you have a desire to attract ideal clients. Oh my gosh, who doesn't have that desire, right? And
Yeah.
you really want to share your expertise, then you're in the right place. So, first, Pam, I just want to say welcome. I'm excited to have you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Terry. I'm excited to be here. Hello, Entrepreneur Group. It is such a wonderful pleasure for me to be here. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. So, I wanted to start out with a little bit about your story because there was something major that happened in your life that caused a shift. And if you would be willing to share that, it would be awesome.
Absolutely. There have been several major things, actually, but the most recent one was that in 2020, we had a random I had a masterclass that was supposed to take place, Terry, and my husband came and he sent me a message and he said, babe, I think you need to call an ambulance. And I said, an ambulance for what? He said, I think I'm okay, but I really think I might need to see somebody. But when I looked at him and spoke to him, he was fine. He was coherent. He was absolutely fine. And but I said, you know what, let me cancel the masterclass and call the ambulance. I called the ambulance. He went off. We said our goodbyes. And within a matter of hours, I received a call from the doctor saying your husband is in a coma. And this was before we went into lockdown. Literally, that happened, and within a couple of days, we went into lockdown in London. And of course, lockdown felt like forever. So, what felt like overnight, I went from being a wife, I went from a two-parent household to being, just a single mom in that moment. And that happened in February of 2020, and my husband didn't actually come home properly till the end of October/beginning of November, and it lasted that long. And in fact, he is still recovering. And the reason that changed everything for me is because I remember when I was finally allowed to see my husband at the hospital months after he had gone in. I remember just being in the car park and just in tears, in absolute tears, and just feeling like I have no idea what to do or how to continue running. Do I keep running the business? What is our new normal? What does life look like after coma? And my children were at that time aged 4 and 6. They are now 6 and 8. And I remember just thinking, do you know what? Life is hitting you hard, Pam. What are some changes that you can make to really change things for yourself? I cannot do business the same way. And that was when, in that moment, I decided I have to change my offer. I have to change my program. I have to recreate the offer, and I have to create it in a way that allows me to still deliver it now, being the only income bringer in the family. I had to change things, and being the only one looking after the kids, I had to change the entire structure of everything. And so that was when things changed, and I changed my pricing, and I did my first launch after that decision was made, and we brought in $120,000 in 3 days from that launch.
Say that again. Repeat that. I want everyone to hear that.
Yes, we brought in $120,000 in 3 days in the follow-up, just the first launch we did after that decision was made.
Wow. Okay. So, we now want to find out, how did you do that? What did you do? And can you share with us? Maybe we can do something similar.
Yeah, absolutely. What I did was I changed my sales process. So prior to that, my sales process was I had a program that was $5,997, so $6,000. And the way people got onto that program was that I would do a big launch, and then people would schedule calls with me, which was great. And it sold very well, but I no longer had time to take all these calls, right? Because of everything happening. So the first thing I did was I reached out to my clients, my client database on my email list, and I said, hey, this is what is going on. I really need help. You've worked with me in the past. If it resonates with your heart and you want to support me, come in and help me. And this is what you will be getting in return? And I said, I will train you. So three of my clients, ex-clients, put up their hand and said, Pam, I'm in, especially if you're going to train us in sales. And so they weren't really, sales wasn't their thing. So I created a training program for sales specifically to train them. That was the first move. When I had them in place, I then changed the entire vehicle of getting into my program. So I recreated my program. And I remember somebody had asked me one day, when I was in the thick of it and literally going through a lot of just a lot of depression in that moment. And I remember a coach friend had asked me, Terry, and she said, Pam, what is, your program is, 6K right now. Like, what is a figure that scares you? And I said, well, 6K scares me. That scares me. She said, no, but you're already charging that. She said, give me a figure that scares you, a figure that you just think nobody will pay for this. And I went, I don't know, 10K? She said, give me another figure. And I went, 20K. I just don't think I have anything to offer anybody. And she said, charge that. And I went, what do you mean charge that? And she said, you might have to make some changes, but just trust yourself, go for it, and just see what the market, comes back with. So I said, okay. So I recreated my program, recreated the vehicle. So no longer were people scheduling calls into a 6K program. Instead, they will schedule a call to join an intensive, a 3-day program. And if I'm being completely honest with you all, when I put that 20K price tag, I put it there as positioning. I don't think anybody would actually buy that. But believe it or not, that was the version of the program that they all went for when I made the offer. And I walked away from that launch absolutely. We were all in tears, not only because the intensive itself was a transformational part of the program, but I was in tears for very different reasons. I just felt like I had another lifeline. I felt like God had given me another chance. Like I had another life, like I had hope again. I had something else that, another way to do business that allows me to just do a 3-day launch and have a big back end to that. So that's what I did.
Wow. So I have to just repeat a couple things that you said because there's so many cool things that you said. I love that you went to past, present client, family members. You were honest, transparent. You asked for help. I love that. And I also love, what figure scares you? You said 10 grand. What figure scares you more? 20 grand, right? And you position it and you put it out there. And the truth is, often when we do, we get the surprise that, wow, people are willing to invest that kind of income with us. So, what would you recommend to other folks that are in here? That's a good question. They want to know what is in your program, what kind of results, and then what you would recommend.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first question is what is in my program? So we have 2 levels of our program. We have the intensive, which over the course of 3 days, what we do in the intensive is help you to create your signature program and launch it. And the reason why that works is because it's an implementation intensive, and not once has anybody left that intensive and not launched their program, or over the 7 days leading up, I give a 7-day action plan or not have enrolled clients, right? So it works incredibly well. That's the intensive. We then have a year-long mastermind. And inside of that mastermind, what I help our clients do is build sales systems, which is my secret weapon, my baby, the thing that set me free, So we create around 4 different sales systems. I'm a big believer, Terry, in that you need to have different offers in your business. You know how a lot of coaches teach, you must have a high ticket offer, and some teach you must have a low ticket offer. I think that all of that is great. I believe that you need a bit of everything. And because it's through that you can serve people in a variety of ways. And if your offer is structured in the right way, you are really only focusing on your high ticket, but all your other levels are still bringing you income consistently.
Sorry about that. I disappeared for a minute. So what I heard was, sorry, I don't know, my disappeared. High ticket is the ultimate. However, you're meeting people where they're at with other offers that
Absolutely.
eventually they could move into the high ticket. I'm sorry, I don't know. I just peered. I was like gone. Is that correct?
That is correct. That's right. Absolutely.
Beautiful. Brilliant. It's interesting because I talk about that too, and I'm very aligned with you, Pam. Not everyone is ready from day one to get into that high ticket.
Yeah.
And I think it's a mistake that a lot of coaches and consultants make. And I
Yeah.
like the idea of meeting people where they're at. Let them try it on. Let them see who you are, what you do, the value you create. And I just had a client the other day. She said, let me review my journey with you. She joined a program that was free, a challenge. From the
Yes.
challenge, she went into a $2,000 program. She decided instantly in that program that she wanted my 1 year full program. And then from that, she pretty instantly decided she wanted my lifetime protege program. And she pointed back out to me. She said, you met me where I was.
Yeah.
I was able to then, decide where I needed to be. So I love this. Absolutely love this.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you say? I'm going to ask a couple questions. What would you say to somebody who's a bit new and they're just totally intrigued? Wow, if I could do something, I can create that kind of income. What are some of the action steps that you can give?
Oh my goodness. Um, that's a loaded question, and I love it. In terms of so this is somebody who is new and they are thinking how or when can I do this, and what other steps that I could put in place. um the first thing that I would say is we need a brain dump, right? We need pen and paper, old school, right? Brain dump of these are the various skill sets, ideas that you have, expertise that you have, experience that you have, and all the various things. So this is part of what I do in my intensive. Essentially, we list out everything and people come out with 50, 60 ideas. And I go through a process where we distill all of these ideas into one. Right? What is that one idea that is your money maker? So at first is we look at what your genius zone is, but a lot of people stop there, Terry, right? And this is where a lot of people fall into the trap of creating an offer and it doesn't match their money goal. They're not going to be able to make that money through that specific offer. So what I say is let's find out what your genius zones are, because you most likely have several. And let's pick out which one of these genius zones is actually your money making zone. And that's the one we focus on. Once we decide what that one is, the next step is we want to start testing the market and building an audience for this thing, right? Way before you start creating a product. And that's different from creating an offer. We want to start talking about this, building an audience. So I get people deep into storytelling, which, as you know, Terry, my background is in acting. So I came out as an actress. And so that's one of the things that I teach, how to use storytelling in your sales system and in your marketing. So that's the first thing I get people to do. Let's tell your story. And I find that by doing that, it almost instantly gets your audience putting up their hand saying, I want to find out more. I want to know more about you, Terry. I want to work with you. I want to just find out what the process is. Then we start working on creating what does the program look like? And what type of lifestyle do you want to have? I think it's very, very important to build a program around the life that you want to have versus just build a program to make money. No, build a program that serves people, but think about the lifestyle. Are you a parent, for example? Do you have a 9 to 5, for example? All of these things need to be taken into account. And then the other piece we work on is sales, right? It's really about filling your calendar and getting on that sales call and closing them. And that, Terry, is a numbers game. And I feel that this is where people get really bogged down, because when they don't understand the numbers behind the data of sales, a lot of people think, I've had 2 calls and I haven't enrolled a client. And I say, no, that's not how it works. We need to find out what is your data, right? For example, how many leads do we need to come into your calendar, and how many people from that number actually show up and are an ideal fit? And then how many people from that do you talk to and convert? We need to figure out what your data is, because if we know what your data is, it's very easy to predict when you will have your first 10 clients at 10K, your first 50 clients at 10K, or whatever the case may be. It's a numbers game. Once you understand data, you just know how to build your business and how to scale much faster.
So I'm really glad you said that, because I was kind of laughing as you were saying that. I know so many clients that start with something and they're like, well, only 2 people raise their hand. It's not going to work. And I'm like, you need to have 20 people. So you need to keep going. And then the discouragement. Well, I spoke to 5 people and no one bought. That's awesome. Go speak to 5 more people.
Yeah.
So part of this, it 100% is knowing your data. And then second of all, it's this up here, not allowing yourself to get discouraged. It's allowing yourself to say, the more people I meet, the more people I talk to, the more people I serve, the more people I help. I wear a little bracelet that says serve and create. So if I just focus every day, serve and create, what I call reverse marketing is what you said here. You said the audience puts their hand up. Yeah, that's reverse marketing. I had one in my inbox this morning. She said, you're still taking more clients because I couldn't work with you last year. I budgeted for this year. You raised your hand, okay? So that's the reverse marketing. And you do have to know your data. The other thing you said, whoever the Facebook user is, you didn't give StreamYard permission. I don't know who I'm talking to. I'm sorry. I agree with you and with what Pam said. You have to also design your life. The other thing I see is people build a business and they wanted freedoms. They became an entrepreneur. And the next thing they don't have any freedom because you didn't design a life first. Any of those things you want to speak to, Pam?
Say that you cut out for a second there.
Any of those things that you want to speak to that I just touched on?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think one of the biggest mistakes, speaking about people building an offer or a program that keeps them overwhelmed, is also misaligned expectations, Terry. You know, I was speaking to a client yesterday, actually, or somebody who has just bought into one of my programs, and we were just talking about the fact that it's very easy for people to hear from successful coaches and go, do you know what? I'm going to do it in 3 months. Right, in 3 months' time, I'm going to hit 6 figures, or I'm going to hit 7 figures. And the truth of the matter is that, as my mother always says, not all fingers are equal. So that means it's going to take people at different lengths of time to get to where they need to be. It took me roughly, I would say, 18 months to 2 years to actually hit 6 figures, Terry. But from 6 figures to 7 figures, it took me a year and a half. Right? You see the difference? And it really is about not giving up, not losing hope, and going back, like you said, you talked to 5 people and it didn't work. You don't give up. It's not failure. It's data.
Yeah.
Maybe your data is you need to talk to 15 people.
Yeah.
Whereas Charlie's data is he needs to talk to 7 people. We're all going to be different. So don't compare yourself to other people. The only thing you owe yourself is not giving up and sticking at it until you find out your data. And once you find out your data, all you focus on then is improving on that data. So instead of speaking to 15 people and closing, can you now do it with 10 people? Can you do it with 7 people? Can you do it with 5? And the only way that data changes is when you keep going and going and going and keep trying and never giving up. Then the data improves. Then you make so much more money in a shorter space of time. But that requires dedication, commitment, hard work, and most importantly, time.
Yes. So what I want to say along these lines is somebody said, I don't know who the Facebook user is keep going. And that's part of it. I know, and I've shared the story with some of my client family members. When I started my first business well over 40 years ago, I had no idea what I was doing. And I was failing. And I had a lot of expenses and overhead. I didn't give up. I just got more persistent and more determined. And then all of the sudden, within about 90 days, things started to move. And once they started to move, my business not only took off, like it went crazy. And I talked to a lot of people at that time who said, I would have quit. And I said, I didn't quit. And David, this goes with design your life that you just said. I didn't quit because I was designing my whole life around the hours that I wanted to work, the people I wanted to serve. And I cared so much about making that impact that I kept going. And I'm glad that I did. It made a huge, huge difference.
Yeah.
become committed, not just interested. Go ahead. I love that.
Let me share this with you just to back that up 100%. This is something else that I like to talk about because I think it helps people to bring perspective. My very first big investment in coaching was 6K, right? 6 grand.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, Terry, oh my goodness, when I made that investment, I thought I was going to cry blood. I'm not, oh my God, because it was just money that I didn't have. And I remember saying yes to the coach, sending off the money. I just had a baby at that point, sending off the money. And within 10 minutes, I had the biggest buyer's remorse. Oh my God. And so I sent her back this long email and I had all the excuses under the sun. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I really didn't mean to sign up for this. I've just had a baby and and I listed all the reasons. And I sat there and I waited patiently for her to give me my refund, which I was requesting. When the email popped in, I sat up and I go, okay, brilliant. Pam, you're getting your money back. Do you know what happened? She sent me an email. And in a nutshell, she said, pull yourself together.
Good for her.
You've just had a baby. So what? Right? That gives you the reason to do this program, make money, and do something of yourself. Do you know what? I nearly cried blood that day. I was like, what? I was so mad. But I stuck at it. So I did the program. Remember, I invested 6K. At the end of the program, guess how much money I made? $27.
Sort of laugh. Been there, done that. Go ahead.
Not 2,700, not 27,000, $27. That was it. Out of all of it, I launched and I thought, oh my God, this is absolutely crazy. But you know what? I'm so glad that I had a little bit of wisdom in the midst of the tears. And that wisdom was, Pam, you have data. If you could make $27, you could one day make 2,700, 27,000. You sold one small itty bitty thing for $27. That means there was something that you did that works, right? And so it did take me some time to recover, like a good 6 months to redo. So I literally threw everything out and I took, okay, what did I discover from this program? Until today, I give that coach a lot of credit. And this is why I don't like it when people talk negatively about their coach, because I just think that coach gave you, they gave you something amazing, no matter how you feel about that program. And so she will always be a huge part of my life because she helped me to realize something in myself that I could sell something, even if it was $27. So I threw out that sales system and I kept in what I felt, okay, this is good, this worked. And I put in a lot of storytelling, recreated my own thing, relaunched. And within 35 days, I had made $65,000 from the new system, and just to support what you said of what if I had given up? $27. What if I had been on my soapbox of, I wasted money and this coach did me wrong and, whatever. No, perspective, mindset is so important to understand. Every move you make, every result that you get or didn't get is data. And if you have the right mindset, you can always multiply that because you didn't give up, because you just kept going.
Yeah, let's piggyback on that. You're touching so many points. I'm loving it all. It's interesting. I remember years ago, I did hire a consultant for 6 figures, and I made maybe $1,000, maybe 900. It was like nothing. And I remember having this moment of wanting to point the finger of blame at the coach. And instead, I sat down and I wrote in a notebook, what are the things I learned from this coach that I could apply? Forget looking at the dollars. And there were at least 20 things. I took those 20 things, and over the course of time, I played with them. And I added, in the next 15 months, a couple of $1 million to my business. So I took the finger of blame that I was going to do this, and I went, no, stop blaming, start looking at what you learned. And the other thing is so important that you go ahead and look at your mindset. We were having a little chat here just a little bit ago with Anthony about what you believe you can achieve. And if you're going to give up, you won't going to achieve anything. I believe you just keep going and you keep going 1 foot in front of the other. with the data. With the data. Facebook user, how to agree with StreamYard. It says it in the beginning of the post. I can't grab that right now. And if one of you who's on can share that, that would be great. And Facebook user, you could just put your name in there so you know who you are. So there's two huge things that I want to kind of sum up to people. Number one, here. Number two is that finger of blame that we're so quick, or the buyer's remorse when they're done that. Look at every experience and say, what's the takeaway and how could I put it to use? You're so welcome, Anthony. And the truth of the matter is that it is about keeping going. It is about, I mean, look at the huge things that you went through in your life. It'd be very easy at that point. Yeah, I'm supposed to be the breadwinner, but this is too much, and throw your hands up and God knows what. And instead you got your head right and you made some great decisions. And the one other point that I have to say, you're the only person in this group that has covered this. And I've had this group with lots of amazing people. You keep talking about the data, and I drill that into my clients' heads all the time. Oh, I didn't get any bookings this week. Okay, well, how many people did you chat with? What? Or I spoke to 2 people and no one bought my program. Great. Go talk to 2 more. I love that you're really sharing with us. We have to keep our eye on the right ball. And the last thing I'll say about that is I never look at who says no or who's whatever. I only look at what is happening that I can learn from. What is happening I could learn from. Thank you, Alexi. Given your name, you could give Alexi the way to do that. That would be awesome. Thanks, Alexi. So go ahead, Pam. Oh my God, this time is going so fast. We have 4 or 5 minutes. Any other tips? And then please tell people how to connect with you. You are amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, please go ahead and connect with me. I would say connect with me on YouTube. So on YouTube, just find me Pam Obasa, my name on YouTube. So youtube.com/Pam Obasa. Please go ahead and subscribe. I have some really, really great content there. And add me as a friend on Facebook. Send me a DM. Let me know that you saw this interview, so that I can get to know you, etc. Send me a DM on Facebook after adding me as a friend. Those are 2 ways. Terry, if you don't mind, I do have something that I could share with this audience. It'll have to come via a link so they can actually get access. It's a case study that details the 120K in 3 days launch that people find incredibly useful because it's very, very detailed.
I want it.
Wonderful. So I will send that to you as soon as we get off and the call.
Is it possible to even come back here later and just post the link in the group?
Absolutely, I can certainly do that. Yeah, I can certainly do that. Absolutely, that's a very good point. Actually, thank you for allowing me to do that. I really appreciate it.
It's like anything that creates value. That's what you're for. You're creating massive value.
Thank you.
So we have time for one more question. Who has a pressing question or a comment? Kenneth Tard says, yes, please. He wants the case study. I want the case study. David Yorker, power-packed interview. I would totally agree. Is the link something simple that I can type in now?
It might be. If you could type in theseedmethod.com. www.themethod.com. That should hopefully work, and I will check once I get off. We've just switched our links around. Once I thank you for that. Once I get off, I will check and repost.
And I know our folks are going to want the case study. You've been so generous in sharing, so heart-centered, so giving. This is fantastic. I don't even know what to say. I'm so glad that you've given this to us. I can't wait personally, seriously, to take a look at the case study. It's amazing. Alexi wants the case study. We all do. So this is what Pam said. The link is to the case study. If there's something wrong with the link, she's going to come back in here. She'll post in the Heartrepreneur group. And Pam, I just want to thank you. Pam also invited all of you to subscribe to her on YouTube. You can find her under her channel, which is her name. And she invited you to connect with her, be a Facebook friend, message her, let her know that you've been here on the interview, the value that you've gotten. And this case study sounds amazing. And I'd love for you all, when you watch this live or you're watching a replay, many folks watch the replay later, just do hashtag replay. Tell us what you've learned. Ask any questions. Pam and I will come back in and answer them. Any final word in the last 30 seconds?
Oh my, final words. Don't give up. Focus on the data. Remember that your data is going to be different from mine, different from Terry's. It's going to be different, right? And your goal is to always improve your data, make it better and better and better, and reach out for help, right? I will be back in the chat. If you have questions, I'm very giving. I'm very open, like an open book. If you have questions, just let me know. If it's a long question, I'll record a quick Loom video and I'll respond because I'm a voice. I like video and voice more than typing. And I'm here. My business has grown by the grace of God because I'm a giver by nature. So please feel free to ask any questions that you have.
I just want to thank you. I could feel your heart in everything. You're just amazing. I appreciate you so much. Everyone, there's your link. We'll grab the case study, ask Pam any questions, connect with her, go to her YouTube channel. Pam, big applause, huge thanks. And we look forward to connecting on a deeper level.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.